This is not just about money. It is about company gets to shape the next 20 years of global storytelling. Let's zoom out for a moment to business strategy. Where is this money coming from? Because you follow the money, you get a lot of information. And the money tells its own story. On the Netflix side, this is very much a Wall Street deal. Netflix has lined up $59 billion in unsecured bridge loan to fund the cash portion of its offer for Warner's Discovery. And that loan is being underwritten by three big banks, Wells Fargo, BNP Paribas, and HSBC. Money nerdy is global politics nerdy, as you're going to see in a minute. Here we go. That bridge loan is exactly what it sounds like. It's temporary money. The plan is to push a lot of that into the global bond markets over time, essentially asking investors around the world to buy Netflix debt so it can keep this acquisition on its balance sheet. It's already seeing record activity in the M&A bond market as companies rush to lock in financing like this. The rest of Netflix's offer is stock. Warner Brothers Discovery shareholders are being promised about $23 in cash plus about $4 in Netflix shares for each WBD share, and that adds up to about $72 billion of equity, valued about $82 billion in debt, et cetera. So that comes into a global loan package arranged by major Western banks, and the equity comes from Netflix issuing new shares, which will dilute existing Netflix shareholders, but they'll pull Warner shareholders into the Netflix tent. So there's no public indication at this point that sovereign wealth funds or foreign state investors are backing Netflix's big directly. It is a classic corporate finance, banks, bonds, public markets. Now, global politics, Paramount Skydance thing looks really different. Paramount's hostile offer, all cash, $30 a share. It values Warner's Discovery at about $108 billion at how you count. But to get there, there's about $40 billion of equity from the Ellison family and Redbird Capital, deep-pocketed U.S. private capital. But on top of that, you have foreign sovereign wealth funds. Funds from Saudi Arabia, Abu Dhabi, and Qatar, providing about $24 billion at least in financing for the bid. There was also a $1 billion commitment from Tencent, which is the Chinese tech giant, but that was withdrawn after there was concerns that that involvement would actually trigger a U.S. national security review. So you see, this is all global politics. And then, just like Netflix, Paramount is going to need a mountain of debt. So Paramount Skydance has already lined up about $54 billion in bridge financing from Bank of America, and Citigroup, and Apollo to cover the rest. Now, here's the delicate part. Because of U.S. national security rules, the Middle Eastern sovereign wealth funds have agreed to give up any rights to participate in Warner Brothers management if Paramount wins. So officially, they are just financial investors. Unofficially, it does mean something else too. If Paramount prevails, tens of billions of dollars from Saudi Arabia, Abu Dhabi, and Qatar will be helping to determine who owns one of the most powerful storytelling engines in the world, even if they don't sit on the board. But meanwhile, if Netflix prevails, the power center is more traditional. American and European banks and global bond investors, and a public company whose stock is almost in every index fund on Earth. Either way, this isn't just about Hollywood money anymore. It's about global capital, state funds, private equity, mega banks, all converging on the same prize. Not only Warner Brothers films and shows, but also the data and the influence that come with them. And when you look at it that way, you realize that this fight isn't just over who makes the movies. It's about who finances the movies. And by extension, who gets long-term economic stakes in what the world watches and talks about and eventually believes.